So you've been wanting to solo travel and not sure where to get started? Well, if that's something that you're interested in, stay tuned. It's an amazing day. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Andrea, and here on this channel, we talk about all things related to mature living for the woman over 50. So I'm sure that you've heard that solo traveling is all the rage and really how great an experience that it really is. And as a woman over 50, you may be concerned about how you can get started, what you should do, what's all the rage about solo travel. Well, in this vlog, I'm going to be talking about it. I actually have been traveling solo for quite some time in a variety of different ways. And so today I have some tips that's going to help you begin to take a trip alone, if you will. So if that's something new that you're interested in learning about, then stay tuned. So as a little background, my first solo trip, or I'll say solo flight, first flight was really back in the 80s. I actually took a trip to California, from Connecticut to California. My first plane ride, I did it alone to meet a friend out in San Diego. And once I did that, I've had years of traveling as a family and with friends, but I'm very, very comfortable in traveling alone. And the interesting thing is, as my children have watched me do this, they are adults now and they are very comfortable in traveling alone as well. So the first thing is that if you're going to be traveling alone, you definitely want to research the area that you are going to be arriving at. You want to research it thoroughly. You want to get as much information as you can as possible. One of the things that I suggest is that if you're new to traveling alone, you may be comfortable in trying to take a solo trip to a place that you've already been, though you may be going alone for the first time. And that may help you just get in a position, that you're going alone, you're traveling alone, whether you're driving, flying, or taking a, train, but you are familiar with the area that you're going to arrive in. And so I believe that if, especially in this season of life, sometimes we're a little, apprehensive about trying things that are new, but you can at least travel alone to a place that you've been to before. And then that could be helpful to you in terms of getting used to the actual travel alone, driving or catching the plane, staying at a hotel or an Airbnb by yourself, and you can get to feel more comfortable in that space and you're already familiar with those surroundings. Now, the second thing is you want to make sure that you choose your accommodations wisely. So your hotel or your Airbnb, you want to make sure that it's in a reputable location, that's in a reputable hotel or Airbnb, and that it is in a safe environment where you can actually reach out to other people or there's a lot of activity that's going on around you. In addition, make sure those areas are well lit. And again, there's a lot of activity going on around you. Now, for me personally, when I travel, I like to stay at hotels that I'm familiar with. There's a couple of hotel chains or lines that I like to travel at. And so when I'm traveling, I make sure I go to those accommodations. I'm familiar with how their billing is, how um, their parking fees are, and the like. So I like to stay in an area, stay with a reputable hotel that I am comfortable with. Now, of course, as you're traveling, you want to make sure that your family and friends are aware that you are traveling alone. Whether you're flying, you want to make sure they have all of your flight information. If you're going to be Ubering or using a car service, you want to make sure that they're aware of the service that you're using, or which type of car service or ride sharing that you're using as well. You want to make sure they have all of your hotel information, your flight information, and some of the activities and things that you'll be participating in when you're on that trip. And also, if you have a location availability on your phone, that's also another great way that people can sort of kind of check on you and see what you're doing in a very safe way which is very, very important. The next thing you want to make sure is that you pack lightly and comfortably, right? That all of your clothing, your suitcases, your extra bags are easily accessible. So that way when you're traveling alone, you don't have to be fumbling and looking for your, passport or your license or your credit cards, that you have everything readily available. And so that's whether you're driving or if you're traveling by plane or by train. You want to sort of minimize, how much, how many things you're taking with you, how many suitcases and that kind of thing. And then also you want to make sure that you're packing really smartly, again, so that you can access those things that you need in a very comfortable way where you can stay alert to your surroundings, and, you're not pulling your money out, unnecessarily, and things of that nature, that you can be smooth sailing. I'm going to pause right here for a minute and just share a story with you about somewhat of a solo trip that I took back in 2017. Now, the first thing is, or 2016 actually, the first thing is solo trips can mean a couple of things: that you're traveling alone, that you're staying alone, that you're doing everything alone. And some people may see traveling alone as taking, a big flight somewhere by yourself, or a train ride by yourself, or actually driving long distance by yourself. It really just depends on your experience and what you're accustomed to. So there's no right or wrong. But back in 2016, one of the things that I hadn't done in quite some time, or maybe it was really I think this was really a first, to be honest with you, and that was I took a solo trip from Virginia to Oklahoma. Solo in the fact that I was going to a women's conference and I really didn't know anyone there. I had purchased a ticket from my coach, and had never been to Oklahoma before, and I donned a flight here in Richmond and traveled out to Oklahoma. And when I arrived in Oklahoma, maybe about 11 o'clock at night, I had taken my first Uber ride at 11 o'clock at night from the airport to the hotel, in which I actually met a young woman that I had been corresponding with through social media. We actually had the same business coach at the time, and we ended up rooming together at that conference. So that in itself was a big trip, a big step as well, in terms of taking a flight to a place that I had never been, and also meeting people that I had never met before. And so that was just so exciting. I had made some of the best acquaintanceships and friendships during that. I think it was like a 3-day stay in a 3-day business conference that actually changed my entire life. I share that story because sometimes we can be apprehensive about taking those leaps and doing things that we've never done before. And so I want to encourage you that whether you're over 50 or over 60, don't allow your history of not doing certain things to dictate your future and your present day, right? It's never too late to try something. You just want to use wisdom as you're going about whatever that trip or location is, and you want to get as much information that you can about that location. The beautiful thing now is there's so many Facebook groups and places like here on YouTube that can give you information and share with you how to go about taking a solo trip, whether it be a solo trip going to a conference, to even an international space, or whether you're driving or flying. There's so many different ways to go about it. And I think you should try it. I'm really, really excited for you. Now, one of the things that you want to be aware of when you're traveling and you're in a new environment, so maybe you're shopping or you're out to dinner or you're walking in a new town that you're not familiar with, you want to pay attention and you want to trust your instincts, right? So you really want to pay attention to your surroundings, make notes of where you're going, or what particular stores you've passed by, because I do know, well, at least for me, I can go to a parking deck, and if I don't write down where I park my car, I can forget it, right? I do have a quick little story. A girlfriend of mine, we took a trip to Charleston in 2023. In 2023, I think it was, or 2022, I can't remember. Maybe 2022. And we went down to Charleston, and that was like my third or fourth time to Charleston. And we actually parked our car in a parking deck, but the two of us together could not remember where exactly the parking deck was, right? We end up, searching for 45 minutes. We found the car, But nevertheless, my point is these things can really, really happen, right? And so you want to make sure that as you're traveling to new locations, that you're paying attention to your surroundings, that you're sort of making notes, or even use your phone to take pictures of a location where you parked or where you started at, or even like street corners, things of that nature. So it can help you navigate your way around if you're not spatially conscious, right? And also where you don't have to look like you're lost, right? And you have some things that you can reference to sort of keep you um, on point as to where you're going as you're traveling and enjoying your location that you're visiting. Now, when you're traveling solo, it's perfectly fine to meet people and chat, you know, in the environments, depending on if you're at a restaurant or at a venue, whatever that may be. But you also want to be aware that you don't give too much personal information. Unfortunately, this is a weird world that we live in today, and with just a little bit of information, sometimes people can find out a lot about you, and you just want to be very, very careful of the type of information you're sharing. And also, when you're taking out debit cards and credit cards, you want to be mindful to sort of keep them low key, not pulling them out, because you'll be surprised. There's a lot of scams and, you know, people that just don't have our best interests at heart, right? In addition, when I'm thinking about credit cards, make sure that you also, let your credit card or your banks know that you will be traveling, because they may flag your card if you're in a location that they're usually not used to you swiping your card at frequently. So you definitely want to make them aware before you travel as well. Now, the next thing you want to be mindful of is, depending on where your location that you're traveling to is, you want to blend in with your surroundings. So, as the saying goes, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So, you want to make sure that you're paying close attention of the culture, the dress, the behaviors in certain areas. So, I'll give you an example. Everyone knows that in New York City, if you're a visitor in New York City, you're probably not wearing high heels. You're going to do a lot of walking. There's a lot of crowds. People are bumping shoulder to shoulder on those main streets. And so you definitely want to make sure you have uncomfortable clothing, that you're well dressed. If you're in the fall or winter, it's going to be quite cold in New York City, that you're paying attention, that you don't have things in your back pocket, or open purses and big bags. You want to make sure that you're keeping those things close to your body, because there's a lot of crime in certain areas of New York, a lot of things going on, right? So when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And then obviously, if you're in a more tropical location or beach attire, then you do that so you can fit in and you don't stick out as, or and it's okay being a tourist, but you don't necessarily stick out being a solo tourist, right? Because sometimes that can be a, a hazard, if you will. We want to be very, very careful when we're traveling as women alone. Now, if you're going to a location maybe where you have some travel plans, excursions, sightseeing tours, you want to make sure that you stay flexible, right? Because sometimes if you're going on a particular tour, it can be held up because of the weather, or just mishaps, if you will. I just remember years ago when I went to Disney, the one of the boat rides, there was impending weather or thunder. So the scheduled boat ride, we had to wait an additional hour or whatever. You just want to make sure that you stay flexible and be open-minded, right? When you're in a new place, and sometimes those things can happen. So you just want to make sure that you're, checking those times, being open and being flexible to the activities that you have planned and prepared for yourself. And one of the things that I really, really love about solo travel, I feel it is so empowering. And in addition, you don't have to wait to travel for someone else's agenda. There is a time and a season for that, but also it just builds your independence, it builds your confidence. You just really, really feel empowered. It gives you the opportunity to do what you want to do when you want to do it, when you're visiting a place, and no holds barred, totally all your agenda and your schedule. If you want to do a lot of activities, you can do that. If you want to do nothing and sit at poolside, you can do that. And I just absolutely love it. I have done some solo trips, not internationally, but I have definitely, gone to Atlanta several times. I've been to Vegas. I flew to Vegas alone. Where else have I gone? I said California. Of course, Connecticut, I've been there, driven. Feel like I'm forgetting something, but I've done both driving because I love to drive. As long as there's not a big traffic route, I love driving. And I've taken many, many flights to different locations alone. However, I have yet to be on a train ride. I have not taken a train anywhere outside of a commuter train years ago. So that is definitely on my schedule. But solo travel is so empowering, so enriching. And like I said, you get to schedule what time is convenient for you, when you take your, whether it's vacation days or your time off, whatever flights are best for you, whatever packages are best for you, whatever drives are best for you. That's what's so empowering about solo travel. And I definitely, definitely recommend it. At least try it once. And again, what I said at the top of the video is that you can definitely go, if you're a little nervous about it, go to a place that you've already been with others, but this time go alone. And that will start, trust me, that will start you on a whole different journey of solo travel. So listen, hopefully something I said today will be of an encouragement for you to think about putting solo travel on your calendar this year. There's such a variety of options. You can even do something that's pretty close to home. You can drive a couple of hours or even an hour and get a hotel room and just order room service, hit the dinner, the restaurant, and just try it out. Right? This is a time and season where we have more flexibility generally, right? Because most of us don't have very young children, or we have adult children and are empty nesters. So I just want to encourage you that you give solo travel a try. So again, thanks so much for watching, and be sure to like this video, to subscribe to my channel, and to hit that notification button so you can get all future notifications of my uploaded videos. And have a wonderful and blessed day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.